We continue, and in this video we return to strings. Let's touch on here two, in my opinion, important aspects: immutability of strings and formatting of strings, since we know what variables are and what they are for. So let's create a variable a and assign to it hello. That is, formally speaking, the a variable refers to a string object with the hello value. As you know, when the Python interpreter reads a code, it substitutes the variables by objects these variables refer to. In our case, it will be the string hello. And now, if I pass the a variable into the dir function, I will get a list of all attributes of the string data type. Here they are. Okay, let's suppose I want to use the upper method to uppercase the word. I use the a, which refers to the instance of string class or to the string object. Then I'm putting a period. That is, I indicate that I am accessing an attribute of this object. And then I'm calling its upper method. Upper. And I got the word hello converted to uppercase. All letters got capital. And now I have a question for you. What is the value of the a variable? Timer started. 3, 2, 1. The a variable now contains the value hello in lowercase, exactly the same as it was before the call of the upper method. And this is because strings in Python is immutable data type, and there are mutable data types. It means that the upper method returns a brand new string object. And I'm gonna show you that it's true. Let's get the ID of the object the a variable refers to, ID a. Then let's create a new b variable that will get as the value the result of the upper method, a upper. And again, let's look at the ID of the object to which the b variable is referring. And we can see that ID of these variables, I will say so for brevity, is different. That is, these two variables refer to different objects in memory. This feature of strings forces us to save the result of string operations into some variables or other objects. If you think that you don't need the original string, then you can overwrite the variable with a new value this way. A equals to a upper. Firstly, Python will evaluate the expression to the right of the equal character. Equal character is an assignment. And after that, Python will write the result of this expression as the value of the a variable. And now the a variable refers to a new string object. Okay, I think we've done with the immutability of strings. And since we have variables, we can look at how strings can be formatted. We can say that string formatting is something like writing a string template that will be filled with values of the variables you want. Formatting of strings can be done with the string method format or using the so-called fstring notation. For example, let's create a new variable name and assign to it the value world. And now I want to create some string, a template that I want to fill with this data. String that equals to hello, and then I'm using curly braces as a placeholder. This placeholder indicates the place where some value should be placed. And now I'm calling the format method of the string format and passing into it the name variable as an argument. And I got a new string with the value of the name variable instead of the placeholder. Let's pass another value into the format method. I think that it's clear that such a notation is equivalent to this expression. Hello, the placeholder formats world. But as you know, using of variables make our code more dry and more universal. The string template can have many placeholders. For example, let's create two variables. I want to use a Python script this time. The one variable will have Leon, a movie, as the value. Name Leon. Rating will be 100. And now our template string will be like this. As a placeholder and a placeholder. And to place the values of our variables, I just used them as format. I'm passing name and I'm passing rating. And I want to see the results, so I just wrap this expression and pass it into the print function. And let's run the code. And we got the resulting string Leon 100. And as you probably guessed, the order in which the arguments are passed into the format method matters. Okay. Let's run the code again. We got a different result. Okay. Another use case. The placeholders in the template string, here, we can name and then pass into the format methods keyworded arguments. We will talk about them later. For example, at this time, the placeholders of the S string won't be empty. The first one gets the movie name, movie, and the second gets the rating. The movie and the rating in the placeholders are just names, nothing more. Formally speaking, these names are also variables that will get the values when we pass into the format method keyworded arguments. We will talk about arguments of functions a bit later in the next video, but for now, at the moment, you can think of them as the names of these placeholders if you like. So I made a string template and now I need to fill it with my data. I have to use the S variable, as usual, and call its format method again. Then I am passing into it the values of my variables. I want to pass the value of the name variable into the movie placeholder and the value of the rating variable to the rating placeholder. Accordingly, in the format method, I assign to the movie variable the rating variable as the value, and to the rating variable I assign the value of the rating variable. I'm sorry, I wanted name. Rating will get the rating. Let's run the code. And I want to remind you that when the Python interpreter reads our code, it uses the objects that the variables refer to. This string is equivalent to the following. As format, movie variable gets the value of Leon, and the rating variable will get 100 as the value. The result is the same. Formally speaking, movie and rating are also variables, here and here, to which I assigned the values of the variables name and rating, and accordingly the values of these variables, movie and rating, were substituted into the string. Just try to follow the logic. And now let's look at f-string notation. It appeared in Python since the version 3.6 along with PEP 498. Basically everything is the same, only we have no need to call the format method anymore. So let's remove this. In f-string notation, quotes are preceded with the f letter, f from format word, and then I just use the names of my variables where I want to place the values. Like so. F movie will get the name variable, and let's run the code. R is not defined, as of course. Again. And we got the same result. This is the most common use case of f-strings, and also I have a short video about most helpful use cases of f-strings. For more real practice, consider also my practical Python web scraping course. The link will be in the description to the video. The next video will be about functions and arguments of functions. So if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.